Greetings everyone, greetings and welcome. Welcome to this very special video. So, it seems like Pantheon got new funding. That's pretty huge. It seems to have just come out of nowhere, and after so many ups and downs, it feels good to finally have something positive to talk about. There's been so much noise lately and so much speculation, negativity on Reddit, people asking if Joppa's getting replaced or what's going to change. But what really matters is that the team has a second wind, an injection of cash. It might not be as much cash as you think it is for something like this because developing an MMO is so incredibly difficult and it's so incredibly expensive, but they have a very rare chance to pause, to reflect, maybe even rebuild, just reevaluate everything, tighten their focus, their direction, and hopefully steer this thing back towards what it was always meant to be. And obviously, we have very good news. This is fresh funding, so we have more time, more breathing room, and hopefully the team can hire more developers, improve project management, and maybe even like new leadership, who knows, or ideas where they're needed most. And I think, in my opinion, this is also an opportunity to rethink how they build the game, not just what they're building. And if it was me personally, if I was in any kind of position with the team to make a decision, I would start leveraging modern tools to help out. It's so difficult to build an MMO with a small team, so I would leverage something like AI, not as replacement, but just something to help me out. Just let it handle the repetitive work, the monotonous stuff, like shaping up the terrain, like placing assets, just some general basic world building stuff. And then that's when you bring the artists and designers to refine it, to shape it into something meaningful, something with soul. That's what we need. We need soul, baby. That kind of workflow could just like massively accelerate progress without sacrificing that beautiful, just necessary human touch that makes worlds like this feel alive. So, but funding alone, that doesn't solve everything. Money certainly helps, but it can't buy clarity or direction. This has to come from within the team. And a lot of people have said Joppa's been wearing too many hats: creative lead, designer, community voice. Maybe they're right. And, that's certainly not a criticism of his passion. Joppa is an amazing, passionate guy. It's very coherent. Like, I love his streams. He's an awesome guy. But maybe it's just that passion without the structure. You could just kind of burn yourself out. So maybe this is the time for the roles to kind of evolve a little bit. Maybe creative minds to focus on what they do best, and strong production leadership to take the reins where necessary. Maybe they could just reshuffle some things around, take some of the load off Joppa. The hardest part, though, it's rebuilding trust. Pantheon's been in development for many years. Many have lost their faith. You can kind of feel it in the community. People are exhausted. Their disappointment. Words aren't enough anymore. People want results. They want the world to be fleshed out, to feel more alive. They want systems that make sense, like this perception system. It's such an amazing idea. And if the team can start delivering that, even if it's just like small little doses here and there, I think people might come back. The hope never really dies. It just kind of goes quiet until something wakes it again. But in my opinion, they did kind of miss the window a little bit. Like, after EA comes, they should have never taken their foot off the pedal, in my opinion. But so if it was me, I would focus entirely on the foundation. Forget the marketing, strengthen the gameplay loop, the group content, the feeling of just being in the world, just existing in the world. Use AI, at least where it makes sense. Build tools that help a small team work together faster. and then spend the time, like the saved time, on parts that matter most: the story, the pacing, the atmosphere. And I'm sure most people would agree that, I would rather see a handful of zones, just a handful, like, I don't know, 10, 15 zones, right? But just make them amazingly handcrafted, put together, everything, just everything. Than just like a sprawling world that just feels kind of empty, you know? And I'd keep the community in the loop, of course. Like, even if the updates are kind of rough, because, there's people still here after all these years, and they're not like, not everybody's here to criticize. They're here because they still believe what the game could be. And so, this new funding is great, but it's not the finish line. There's still work to be done, lads. There's still work to be done. This is a second chance from the heavens, literally from the heavens. It's very, very rare. And if the team can balance technology with creativity and discipline with passion, then Pantheon can still become something special. It is special. The vision is still there, the foundation is there. It just needs to be built upon with more purpose and more care. Finally, we're going to leave it off with this. Brad McQuaid once said that a world should feel alive, that players should feel small within it. Not because they're insignificant, but because the world itself has weight and history. That's what I hope Pantheon finds again. This new funding isn't salvation. It's an opportunity. A reminder that the dream isn't dead. The promise of adventure, mystery, and risk still matters. EverQuest, an amazing legendary game that was so special to me and many, many others. It changed the landscape once. Pantheon has a chance, a small chance, to echo that change. Maybe not in that same scale, but in spirit. And I think if it can do that, if it can hold on to the heart that started all this, then this might be the rebirth. Something that should have never been allowed to fade. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and have an amazing day.